Hey there, CIMA E2 students. Welcome. In this explainer, we're going to get you completely up to speed on business models, which is an absolutely crucial topic for your upcoming exam.
So here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the core concept, then we'll break down all the key aspects. After that, we'll visualize the whole thing, see how value gets delivered and captured, and then wrap it all up with a recap that is laser focused on what you need for that E2 exam. Let's dive right in.
First things first, let's build a really solid foundation. We need to understand the fundamental idea of what a business model actually is and, why it's so incredibly important for managing how an organization performs.
It's a great question, isn't it? I mean, how does that work? Well, the answer lies in their totally different business models. The best way to think about a business model is as a story that explains exactly how a company works, how it creates something valuable, and most importantly, how it makes money.
So this definition right here is your key takeaway. A business model isn't some fuzzy concept. It's a blueprint. It lays out the core logic of how a business makes something people want, gets it to them, and, turns a profit while doing it. And that brings us to our main goal today. This whole explainer is built to help you absolutely master this specific lead outcome from the CIMA E2 syllabus. By the time we're done, you'll be able to explain every single element of a business model with confidence. You can actually break down any business model into this simple but really powerful four-step cycle. Think of this as our framework for the whole discussion. Define, create, deliver, and capture. Let's jump into that first step. Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this first section, the fundamental pieces you really need to know, starting with how on earth we define value in the first place. So, to define value, we have to start by asking a really simple question. Value for whom? And the answer is for our stakeholders. These are all the different people and groups who have a stake, an interest in what our organization does. And this table is so important because it shows that value isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. For a shareholder, it's all about dividends. For an employee, it might be job security. And for a customer, it's just getting a great product. Every single stakeholder looks at value through a different lens. Now, for your exam, just listing the stakeholders isn't going to cut it. You have to analyze them. And we do that by looking at two key things: their power to influence the company, and their level of interest in actually doing it. This is how we figure out who we really need to pay attention to. And this slide just illustrates the next step in our cycle perfectly: creating value. See, it's not just about what you have, like money or patents. Real value is created through competences. It's about what you do with what you have. And that's all driven by your processes, your activities, and of course, your people. Okay, let's pull the camera back a bit. We've seen all the individual pieces. Now let's see how they build into the complete high-level picture of the business model. This is where it all snaps together. Okay, this diagram, you absolutely need to burn this into your memory. It's your map for the E2 exam. Just look at how it all connects. On the left, we identify stakeholders and define our value. That flows into the middle, where we use our resources and activities to create it. Then on the right, we use channels to deliver that value to our customers. And down at the bottom, our cost and revenue models let us capture the profit. See? Everything revolves around that central idea: value. And a really critical takeaway from that diagram is that no business is an island. The model has to fit into its entire ecosystem, its partners, its markets, the current technology, and society as a whole. You could have a genius model, but if it's in the wrong environment, it's just going to fail. All right, now let's zoom in on that right-hand side of our map. We've defined and created the value. Now it's all about step 3, actually delivering that value to our customers. A company just can't be everything to everyone. It's impossible. So to deliver value well, we have to segment the market. We can group customers by where they live, by their age or income, or even by their behavior and lifestyle. This lets us perfectly tailor what we offer to each specific group. Let's make this really practical. Think about a service you probably use every day. How do they slice and dice their market to offer different things to different people? Just take a second and think about it. Yup, exactly. They create all these different tiers and plans. Someone using the free, ad-supported version gets a totally different value proposition than a family on a premium plan. Students get a discount. By doing this, they can tweak their product, their pricing, and their channels to squeeze the maximum value out for each and every segment. So the key here is all about how we reach these different groups. Our channels, whether that's an app, a website, or an actual store, are the pathways for value delivery. And in today's world, it is absolutely essential that these channels are integrated. The journey from seeing an ad on Instagram to buying in a store has to feel like one single, easy experience.
Okay, we have defined, created, and delivered value. Now we're at the final and, you could argue, most critical step in our cycle, capturing that value. This is where the business model links directly to performance management. Look, to successfully capture value, you have to make sure that the value coming in is more than the value going out. It's that simple. Your revenue model, which is all about pricing, has to generate more cash than your cost model, which is all about efficiency, consumes. That difference? Well, that's your profit. And this profit, this surplus that's been captured, it doesn't just sit in a bank account. It gets shared. It's distributed back to all those stakeholders we talked about right at the beginning. And this distribution is a huge part of performance management because you've got to balance it just right to keep everyone happy and make sure the company stays healthy for the long run. All right, that was a lot to get through, so let's do a quick recap of the entire process and really nail down what you absolutely, positively have to remember for your E2 exam. This 4-step cycle is your core framework. Define, create, deliver, capture. If you can walk through this cycle and explain each part using all the concepts we've talked about today, you are in fantastic shape for mastering that lead outcome for your exam. And I'll leave you with a final thought to chew on. Don't just memorize these steps, apply them. Think about how a crazy new technology could just completely blow up a company's existing model. How would it change their stakeholders, how they create their products, how they deliver them? Thinking like this will get you ready for any curveball the exam throws at you. Good luck.